Hey y'all, what's up? I'm Jade, and this is the Jade, Jems, and Juice podcast. Today we have CamrynIsBlack.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming and sitting down with me today.
Of course.
Yes. So, I always like to start off with a little bit of a game, a little bit of an icebreaker, you know, just to break the ice. I actually want to let you know that my first time seeing you perform was at Prime.
Oh, shit.
But that was like last year, I want to say. So it was a while ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's so dope.
Well, look, I would have been chittering and chattering, so it's totally fine.
What was your juice? I'm drinking cranberry juice. What are you drinking, Cam?
I am drinking water. Kirkland brand.
Yes.
Real nice.
Gotta stay hydrated. Okay, we got to. So we are gonna play a game called Let's Mingle. So you're going to ask me some questions from here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask some questions for you. Just a couple, just so we can know a little bit more about you, because I was doing my research and it was a little difficult to find out a little bit about you. I know you got a business, I know you do music, but in between that, I'm not really sure who you are. So
Okay. Ooh, this is a weird. Okay, what were some turning points in your life? We'll say one, because some is how many is some?
Yeah,
you know?
Always a turning point. What do you mean?
It's just all over the place.
I would say just recently, because I am I want to do this podcast. I've been talking about the podcast. I've been trying to put on creatives and entrepreneurs in the 757. I've been getting to know people. So now it's action time. And I've been meeting people, networking with people. And they're like, come to this. You want to come to that? And it's things are just starting to build. And it's just yes, this is finally what I've been wanting to do. And even though sometimes it can be overwhelming, it's a good anxiety, because I'm I'm stepping in my purpose and what I've always wanted to do, my dream essentially. So this year has been a big turning point for me, because JLM is there. It's here. We're doing it. It's happening. So
I love that. Okay, so a turning point in my life, I really feel genuinely it was starting to put out my music. I did all the projects that are currently out, the channel messages, the Karmic Partner, Saucy MF, all in 1 year. And I was really not I was not that guy. Not even gonna lie to you. I would not have been the person to sing in front of people, go out to performances, be by myself. Literally was very hermited. And then all of a sudden I got prompted by spirit. It was do your fucking music. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was just do your music. And I was like, okay. And immediately right when I did it, I was getting such good feedback. And that made me feel so good. Cause I would have never expected that, but I talk about to people consistently, fear is not really a fucking thing. If you stop in the middle of doing something just because of the fear of shit that could actually happen, you have to be scared of doing that shit and then still go do it, or else you're gonna let this invisible, non-existent thing be the thing to stop you from actually succeeding. So, for sure.
Okay, I like it. Okay, how different was your life 1 year ago?
How different was my life 1 year ago? What was last year? 2021? Okay. It was different. I feel like I change every 6 weeks. Okay. So
it's very watery of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to be oh, it's because I'm Scorpio, but that's literally what it is. I really be changing every 6 weeks. So as opposed to last year, I think I was in this space of really heavily people pleasing, and that just was not good for me. I was taking a lot of what I thought were critiques and positive criticism and whatnot, but it was really just others kind of projecting how they wanted me to be. And then I had this whole realization February, I was why am I doing that shit? Because it's so tedious. You know what I mean? You can't satisfy everybody. All you can do is be the person who you are, and then the people who fuck with it, and that's just what it is. So yeah, it was pretty different, but I definitely love where I'm at now and where I'm on track to go. So Yeah, I mean, everything's a learning experience, so nothing too bad, I don't think so.
That's good. That's good.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, a year ago, I still working the same job I'm working now, but I was just in that like, oh my God, I can't do this. I was always looking for a new job like all the time. I'm like, I don't want to work here no more. I can't do this. I'm gonna be a full-time entrepreneur.
That's a Taurus. You're talking about me.
Well, and so, but yeah, it was just a lot of like stepping out of my comfort zone, and I feel like that was like the precursor to where I am now.
Yeah.
Even though I had a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety, a little down points, but I was just realizing my self-worth. I was writing my book last year.
Ooh.
It was, I recently published my book, Daydreams on Venus, out on Amazon.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, just really reflecting, going inside and figure out who Jade is, and just walking in that purpose. Like you mentioned fear earlier. I feel like I was very fearful, but now I'm like, you know what? Fear is holding me back. It's not going to get me to where I want to go. So that was just kind of like the pre-launch to
that's right.
So
that's right.
What are you most looking forward to in the next 10 years?
In the next 10 years? Well, what am I most looking forward to in the next 10 years? I have a lot of goals of things that I want to build for the collective of people. I'm excited to see the changes. Like the astrology right now is crazy as fuck in terms of what's like supposed to be going on, and we're in this like big alignment year and whatnot with 2022, because 222 is alignment, and then all of those added together is 6, which is change. So we're all going into this like grand alignment of who we're supposed to be, or aligning closer to our higher self. So I guess I'm just excited to see what my higher self has planned, because I know that it's gonna be for the betterment of people, you know what I mean? So definitely that. And yeah, just to see the growth. Like I said, it should be changing every 6 weeks. So I can't imagine what it would be like 10 years from now, because I'd just be probably a whole different person by then, I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay, am I supposed to ask one more question, or was that the last question?
You can ask one more question.
Okay, let's see. What personality trait do you value most, and which do you dislike the most? I'm assuming this is within yourself, but if it's not, and that's not the way you were going, then, you know, broad, you see?
Very broad. Because I was thinking, maybe someone else.
Yeah, like in other people? Okay. So, we'll say in other people.
In other people.
Okay, yeah.
I admire ambition and just like independence, I guess I would say, because I'm an ambitious, independent person. So when I see that in other people, especially other entrepreneurs, other creatives, about their work and just like getting after it and just like wanting to make, you know, the world better in a sense through their art and sharing that, I really love that. And then I think the worst thing is... What's the worst thing I don't want? I don't like neediness. Like, I don't like when people need me too much. I like to feel needed, but it's sometimes I'm just like, like, you gonna get it? Because like I said, I appreciate independence. We all do need somebody at some point. I don't know. I don't like to feel like being relied on. My attention is like a fire all the time.
Yeah, that's claustrophobic as fuck. Because then you just, that's too much. Personality trait do I value most? Truth be told, out of all the personality traits, the one that I feel like you have to have is accountability. If you cannot be accountable for the shit that you fucking do, because if I have to be accountable and I want to hang around like-minded people like myself, you cannot be around me and I'd be like, hey, don't do that fuck shit. And then you're like, I didn't even do it. Yes, you did. Because I would have never said shit if you ain't do that shit.
Well. You
know what I mean? Like, so definitely accountability. I think that shit is good. Even if you could just be like, hey, you know, I'm a piece of shit on the low. And that's fine, because at least you can admit that.
Right.
The thing that I dislike most... I can't really describe it in one word, but I don't like, okay, yes I can, indecisiveness. Look, I I understand occasionally being indecisive about something. Like, don't ask me to pick where we want to eat. Don't ask me which one looks better because I can't choose. We'll buy both. You know what I'm saying? But indecisiveness when it comes to like, if it's something I need you to have a definitive point on, even if you have to take the time to think about it, even if you need to have your little moment, be in your own energy, figure out that answer. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not too like, you need to be one way or the other about a lot of shit, but the shit that I am, I'm like, yeah, you need to go on ahead and figure out what you're gonna do, or I just get out the way.
All right.
What are you really good at, but kind of embarrassed that you're good at?
I be picking up stuff with my feet, y'all.
I knew you was gonna say some feet shit, and that's crazy as fuck. Cause I was like, I bet you was gonna be some like feet shit.
Oh my god, we're here right now. What the hell?
That's crazy as fuck.
That's crazy.
Like gripping it with your toes.
Yeah, I just grip some stuff. I don't be wanting to, scoop down. I was like, you know what? Let me get that real quick.
Yeah.
It depends.
Oh, that's funny as fuck. That's okay. Surprisingly, yes, this is something you can be good at. I'm real good at popping people's pimples. And I know that's just something that people do, but if you ask me to pop a pimple, I'm gonna get that motherfucker. I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be nice and good. It's not gonna be on your face no more.
I'm gonna say, is it gonna be scarred?
No, it's not.
It's right here.
I be taking my time. I be like, okay, let me make sure, let me wash my hands, let me get this little tool, cause look, and my partner literally had to tell me, they were like, no, stop doing this. But their skin looks so nice afterwards, and now the pimple is gone. So don't be mad at me. I'm trying to help you.
All right, we got another pimple popper over here, Lord. All right.
Oh.
That was fun. Who is Camryn Black?
Okay.
Camryn is Black. Mm-hmm. And then also, how did you get that name? Because that's very specific, like Camryn is Black.
Yeah.
Not Camryn Black, it's Camryn is Black.
Yeah, that's because that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's like maybe a story or how you came up with that name or...
Well, okay, so the way I came up with Camryn is Black, when I was in high school, I went to a very, 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 very white high school. And it was crazy as fuck, because at first, when you go into high school, freshman year, you're like, okay, let me just figure out everything. Let me try to be all this stupid ass shit. And then I got to like sophomore year, and I realized that there's a certain standard when it comes to being around a lot of white people that Black girls do not fit in. Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you can climb up the ranks at like, in terms of being like a Black child at a predominantly white school. And I'm talking about like 4,000 students in a 97% white population. Like, it was a lot of non-people of color. And it was like, eventually I began to start the Black Student Union at my school, which was the first one in that county. Because Forsyth County is real racist. Like, they kicked out Oprah and everything. It was crazy as fuck.
Damn, not Oprah?
No, swear to God. And they kicked out Oprah, so I'm like, damn, I ain't got a fucking foot in this race. And so I started the Black Student Union, and a lot of the things that I heard was like, oh, Cam, like, oh, you talk so wide, or you're so... Like, I would always get all of these things that were trying to like increase my proximity to whiteness, but that was never my goal. Like, I can articulate myself and still be just as Black as what the fuck I was if I didn't articulate myself, or if I wasn't in whatever sort of position of power that I was in. So, like, as the years went on throughout high school, it was kind of like this shift in who I actually wanted to be, and it became this thing where like I didn't want to just be Camryn or Black Camryn. And if I was gonna be Black Camryn, then it was gonna be Camryn is Black and that's it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't gonna be Camryn's Black, but she's so white when she does this, or she can hang out, like, cause I didn't like the label unless I was giving my own definition to the label. And I hope that makes sense. I know that that's a little confusing, but it really was like a big identity thing for me, like to genuinely say I feel comfortable in my Blackness regardless of where I'm at. You could still be in the suburbs and be Black and educated and up on, things that are going on within the Black community, and you could still be Black and gay, or you can still be, Black and a woman, and the Blackness, a part of that was still really important to me. And I wanted people to know, like, overall everything, Camryn, the individual person, is Black.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So hope that didn't...
That made sense.
Okay.
That really made sense.
But yeah, Camryn is Black. Obviously that's me. But when I think about CamrynIsBlack as an artist, I think overall, like, as a person, in terms of my artistry, I'm really somebody who strongly is rooting for the collective. And when it comes to creating anything, there's always a community that's gonna back you. Whenever you have fans or like people that are watching you or whatever the fuck, you know, like you're always gonna have this group of collective people. And I didn't wanna just like say random bullshit to people all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I genuinely wanted it to be like, I'm somebody that you can listen to and feel good after you finish listening to the music, or listen to and be like, oh shit, I gotta look back at that. That was good. Like I wanted it to be something where I could influence people past just like, you know, like surface level shit, if that makes sense. So people could really see me as like a lyricist, because that's how my brain kind of works. So I could talk my shit and everybody's like, ooh, the beat look, you know, or the beat sound real good, or oh, the artist look real good, that shit fire. And now you've opened up this rabbit hole of genuinely looking at what I'm saying and being like, oh shit, she's spitting facts. So
I love it. So when did you start actually like started doing music, like writing lyrics, or just like getting into the studio, just everything that has to like revolve around music? Like when would you say you first started like opening that door?
Well, I always loved music. Music was like, and it was crazy because like at first I wanted to be like, a news reporter. And I was like, yeah, that's gonna be my thing. But in the back of my head, I was like, you know, it'd be lit if I just got famous off of doing music. Because I always loved to sing. I was in choir all throughout middle school and high school and at church and all of that shit. And then like anytime I would get upset or anytime I couldn't really like express my emotions, like regardless what the situation was, I would just be like, okay, let me just write a song about it. And I would just keep it to myself. Like I would have like hundreds of fucking notes of lyrics and songs just sitting inside of my notes just to express myself at that moment. And then 2020, I moved back to Virginia, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the studio. And I had never been to a studio before. And I went to the studio, I paid my little, I think it was like $50. And I went into the studio and literally even like, cause Saucy Motherfucker was the first song that I had released, you can hear the purchase your track now in the back of the song because it was like that raw. And from then I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanna do. This is what I want to do. So I just started investing and going to different studios and stuff. And that's really how I started. I learned how to drop all the shit by myself and like all of that. Like I started it, but I just never stopped once it came to like releasing it and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the name of the first song you wrote?
Okay, Saucy Motherfucker.
So that was like your first. Okay,
yeah.
Got you.
That was the first song that I released. First song I ever wrote. I do not know. I'm sure that was way, way back. But the first song I ever released was Saucy Motherfucker.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Did you perform that at Prime that one time?
I performed that, and I performed the On My Way to Fuck Your Bitch.
Okay.
Yeah. That shit was lit too. That's so funny that you even bring that up because that was like a year ago, and I forgot about that too. Yeah, that was lit.
Yeah, it was lit. Who would you say are your music inspirations?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, music inspiration in terms of lyricism, No Name, Smino. I really love, obviously like J. Cole, but everybody under Dreamville, Earth Gang, Boz. And then in terms of like vibe, I really like Erykah Badu's vibe of her songs. Mm-hmm. Like every time you go to listen to Erykah Badu song, you're like, oh yeah, you know what mood you're gonna be in.
Exactly.
You know what the fit's gonna be. You know what the vibes is, and that vibe, fucking immaculate. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, I love that. Who would you say like who is your music for? Like, what person is your music for? Like, who are you trying to reach? Who are you trying to talk to with your music?
Well, that's a good question. I'd say for some of my older music, like as opposed to what I'm getting ready to release, I feel like some of my older music was definitely geared towards obviously the Black women, because I do it all for Black women. Period. But definitely originally my goal was for those people who needed to build up that confidence, who needed to unblock that solar plexus energy, who needed to learn how to validate themselves inward, and other people will see that outside. Like, I don't think it would be for those people that need to try too hard to tell you that they the shit. It's those people that know that they're the shit and they're building themselves to become the shit, and people are seeing that externally, like just from that person working on themselves. And like I talk about in the Channel Messages album cover art, the little picture that's drawn on there is a depiction of the star card in the tarot deck, which talks about Aquarius energy, and it talks about pouring into yourself to pour into the collective. And so genuinely, I feel like it would be the people who embody that star card energy being able to pour into themselves and not even see that they're making this big empire like right next to them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so focused on that self-growth, for sure.
Dope. So a little bit about Saucy motherfucker. So what's like the story behind that song? Your first, like, that's your first release, so that was big for you.
So I don't want to be like I had a lot of boyfriends, because that sounded a mess. But no, I used to attract the same type of people consistently, like same person, different body all the time. And so this guy that I was talking to, and we were together for a while, and I just felt like he was trying to play me, like, cause you know, I'm not no hating ass bitch. I give people credit where credit is due. You can be a piece of shit and be fine, and I'm gonna be like, well, you fine, so at least that's fixing something. But it was like, you know, like I'm not a fucking hater, and so it was like he was basically trying to like play me off like, oh, you really wasn't shit. Oh, I was the shit before you. Now I'm the shit after you. But I don't like when people get all their drip from me and all their sauce from me, and then they act like they already have that shit. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't have that. I taught you all of that. And now you're trying to pass it off like that's what you already fucking had. No, you didn't, sir. So I had to tell him real quick, and it's crazy as fuck, because like I was just letting him know, like, you never had a bitch this fly before. That's why you are the way that you are now. And it was crazy because, like, I had him blocked and everything. And I talk about, like, in the fucking songs about how he made all these accounts trying to, like, fucking talk to me again and shit. And I was done with it. Once I let you go, I'm done. And everybody know that. But it was crazy. He was like, hey, I heard Saucy motherfucker, that shit go hard. He's like, I know it's about me, but that shit goes hard. I was like, thank you.
Right.
For giving me the credit where the credit was fucking due. At least I didn't just disrespect you, like, without any sort of, like, without being eloquent about it. Like, at least I didn't just, like, disrespect you and, like, put you on blast and the shit was trash. Like, you knew it was good. That's why I had to get my props. So, yeah, that's really how that started, too. And it's crazy because I do tell people about how okay. And I know when I talk about astrology, there's like the perception of, oh, she, you know, but obviously astrology is more than just the sun sign. Absolutely. And astrology is so detailed. There's astrology about everything, bro. You can search up the astrology of a TV show. Like, I've noticed I love fucking Taurus and Libra and Aquarius TV shows. Those are my shit. Like, Taurus. Yo, and because, like, I don't know if you watch Money Heist. Damn. Okay, not Money Heist. Okay, Santa Clarita Diet.
Yes, I love Santa Clarita Diet.
Santa Clarita Diet is an Aquarius, and I said that matches because it's progressive. It talks about her changing into the zombie, Aquarius rules over change, blah, blah. I say all of that to say the astrology of all my music is like a messy bitch. Like, if I met my music personified, like, it's crazy because I really be getting in people's asses, so I don't know why I was expecting it to be all calm. Like, no, placements are very chaotic. For every single release, like, I always get these Pisces songs, these Aries songs, and I just be going in, and I'm like, damn.
So when you say, like, that show was an Aquarius, was it the producer or the main character?
The actual show.
The whole show itself is Aquarius?
And it's crazy because, like, I do tell people about, you know, because even America has a birth chart, like the actual foundation of America. The way that you find a birth chart, yeah, you need the city or the state. You don't really too much, but that date that it was established and the time that it was established, and then obviously the place, that will tell you the full sun through Lilith placement of how it behaves, what the show is going to be like, what that game is going to be like Sims, and how Sims has that fucking random, yeah, I love Sims. I be in that hoe like 7 hours. In Sims, you know how they speak like the little, like the random language, the Mercury, which is the planet that talks about the way that you communicate. The Mercury for Sims is a Pisces, which Pisces is ruled by illusions, ruled by confusion, and like all of these different things. So like it makes sense why they literally don't speak actual words, because and the astrology supports that. And look, it opened up my life. I swear to God, I've learned how to like understand people more based off of these things, because it really does give you like if you're somebody who needs to see the proof, it gives you that step-by-step understanding of how that person understands, how that person projects them own selves onto groups of people, how they feel emotion, how they communicate, how they love, what they're like when they're aggressive, how they handle rejection, all of that. So, yeah, all of that to say, all them songs, they messy.
They're messy. So, with that being said, that kind of goes into my next question, which was, just tell us more about Sibstrology, your tarot, astrology, and holistic wellness business.
Okay, lovely. So, I started Sibstrology just recently this year, and originally the whole thing started because once I got back to Virginia in 2020 after the quarantine and everything, and everybody was, you know, stuck the fuck at home and all of that, I had a lot of moments of inner realization, and that's when I was really able to talk to spirit and learn how to connect with my ancestors and to connect with my spirit team and how to, you know, get to know my higher self and be able to separate certain parts of myself. And, you know, I started reading tarot and I started learning how to read birth charts because, again, with that fucking Scorpio sun, she's a secretive motherfucker. Like, I couldn't know that birth charts would tell me all that information and not know the information and have somebody else read it. So I just learned how to read it all myself. I was like, because I can't have somebody know some shit about me that I don't even know yet. Like that was just going to take me over the edge. So I learned how to start reading birth charts, start reading tarot. And at first I was just like doing it for free and stuff, like helping my friends. And every single time I would read somebody, they would be like, yo, why is that exactly what the fuck is happening right now? And I would be like, I don't know. And I would get these downloads of information or be able to like tap into how they were feeling at that moment or whatever hidden emotions were there. And I realized, I was like, that is my gift. And then slowly I started learning more about herbalism in 2021, and learning how to heal the body. And I then created this business because I want everybody to feel comfortable, but understanding themselves spiritually. We're living in a spiritual age, so it's not just enough for you to be like, oh, I'm spiritual, because everything in life is a spiritual sort of thing. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything is divine timing. And so when it comes to being able to connect with who you are, you should be able to do that in every capacity. And I feel like everybody deserves that. So I ended up starting Sibstrology, and I meet a lot of amazing people who just need that little extra, can you confirm this? Like, can you help me with this? Or what am I supposed to be doing? And then they'll, you know, I always tell them, I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the next 3 months. Let me know, you know, when that happens. Yeah. And they don't be believing me. And then I be getting texts like 2-3 months down the line, Cam, everything you said that was going to happen ended up happening. I said, yeah. I said, because I was not fucking lying to you. I would not do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to help you. And that's how it started. And it's real lit. I really enjoy it. So it's a really fun thing that I like to do. I like to do the herbal blends for people because, you know, a lot of the people that a lot of my clients are smokers. And I know when I first stopped smoking like tobacco and stuff, you know, when you smoke like woods or like Dutch, like heavily used to smoke Dutches, like it was a problem, like it was a lot. And so I used to smoke heavy as fuck, but then I was like, no, I can't do this tobacco anymore. So I started learning about herbs and all these shit that you could fucking smoke and all these different uses and stuff. So I started making blends to accommodate for people who like, if you smoke to make yourself go to sleep, have a sleeping blend. If you smoke tobacco, you're just gonna be up and anxious, or it's gonna knock you out by getting the fucking tobacco high, and then you're gonna be feeling for that shit in the morning. Or if you want to clear out any sort of clear out any sort of like mucus or any sort of drainage, or you have really bad allergies but you like to smoke mullein, and then you'll clear all of that out. You'll heal all the shit that you fucked up if you were smoking heavy tobacco, and it'll add to your highs. So I was just like, I'm trying to do it for the people. That's essentially what it is.
For the people.
Yeah.
What would you say is like your most requested service?
The tarot.
Tarot?
Yeah, and then it's the tarot, and then immediately it's followed by the birth charts, because if the person has never had their birth chart read before, and then I go and I'm looking through the tarot deck, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's saying that you have these certain elements. Do you know what your sun sign is? Do you know what your moon sign is? And they're like, yeah, it's this, and then it'll pop out of the deck. And they're like, okay, well, how do you know this about this? And I'm like, because... And then it always segues to, okay, well, let me just get your birth time and let me just get your birthday and I'll search up your birth chart. And then, so it's really like a one service and then another service. So, but definitely that tarot, because that thing do not be lying. And I don't ever project anything from my own personal opinions about a situation or anything. I let spirit and my spirit team and the other people's spirit team just channel right through me. And yeah, because if you're not connected to your spirit team and your ancestors, because they're there, and I talk about this all the time, and it's crazy that specifically Black people were taught like early on, oh well, that's the devil, that's all it is, you know what I'm saying? Right. But even when you look at Asian communities, there is this big emphasis on respecting your ancestors, and I feel like as the Black community, we just kind of stop at elders, and then when you die, everybody's like, oh, okay, well then that's it. Right. No, they are there waiting for you to talk, waiting for you to give them some food, waiting to say shit to you, trying to help you align with yourself. And I tell a lot of people, like, because I started off really, really Christian, like heavily into Christianity. And it's not that I'm not anymore. It's just that I understand what religion does for people, but I tell people religion is just a human thing. It's you doing something religiously. That's literally it. When it comes to having a faith in something, if you have a faith or a strong belief that this energy, this God that is to your highest good wants the best for you, you know what I'm saying? That stops being religion and it starts being a faith. So when people, start telling me they want to, get to know more about themselves, I tell them, don't feel like because you're doing this with me, you can't talk about God or you can't talk about whatever religion you identify with. Right. Whoever that person or that energy is for you, that person that's to your highest good or that thing that's to your highest good is the person that I'm talking to, for you. So...
That's dope. So when would you say like the spiritual downloads, did that happen like once you started getting more into like the tarot reading and astrology, or do you feel like that's kind of always been innate? So
I really do feel like it's always, so in terms of the spiritual downloads, so we have the five senses, taste, sight, smell, the five senses. Yeah. And so when it comes to the spiritual senses, they're called the clairsenses. We also have those same things. So there's clairvoyance, clairsentience. They have one that, you smell familiar things and you get a download from it, or whatever the case may be. So in my case, when I do readings and whatnot, it is clairvoyance. So getting the spiritual downloads, which I always had. Like people would just ask me shit and they'd be like, what's the answer to this? And I'd be like, da 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 da. And they'd be like, well, how'd you know that? And I'd be like, I don't know. You asked me too many questions. I told you the answer and that's all you get. And so I always have that. And when I actually started being able to communicate, which was the clairaudience, being able to hear spirit, I think it started becoming more clear what those downloads were. And I say a lot of the time, like, it was really important for me before I started working with other people to get my, mental together, because I heard this really good quote, and it was, anxiety yells, intuition whispers. And a lot of people, you hear that anxious, and anxiety is loud as fuck. And everybody has those moments of feeling really anxious. And when you really take the time to not listen to the loud bitch that's screaming and you just hear intuition, because intuition is only going to tell you something once. Yeah. It's going to be like, this is the answer. And it's not going to repeat that for you. Anxiety will repeat over and over and over again. And so once I started learning how to hone in, you know, being able to genuinely listen to my intuition, then that's when all the other shit started coming together. And it just increased and increased with all the rest of the divinations, with the tarot, with the oracle, the pendulums, the birth charts. Like, it was just crazy how much I began to learn based on shit that I already had in me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids, you know, when you talk about, oh, I see my imaginary friend, or, oh, I'm hearing something in the background, and everybody's like, no, you're fine. Yeah. And then you're just kind of like, okay, but I could have sworn that I just saw something cross the corner of my eye. If people would just take the time to understand what that is, or teach people what that is, you realize that everybody has all of those gifts already. It's just about practicing them and understanding.
Got you. So where can people book those services?
So you can book those services on my Instagram, CIB Astrology. And you can go right on there to the booking app, or go into my link tree and you'll see book a reading, and we could talk. We can have a little conversation. It's real fun.
Book that service. I know. I've all been up in my business and listen. So let's talk about your newest release, EP, Channel Messages.
Period.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so
just
much.
Been like putting. I went on your Apple Music. I have Apple Music, not Spotify.
Period.
And I was like, Channel Messages 2021. It's just like 20.
Stop. Continue.
Yes, I was saying, like, the release of your music, it feels like it's just been very back to back. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, honestly.
Thank you.
But yeah, just tell us about Channel Messages and the story, or just, you know, coming up with the songs and the release, just all of that. The title. You told us a little bit about the artwork, which is cool. I love seeing a black goddess up there. It's like a black figure. I love that. But yeah, just tell us a little bit more about it.
So Channel Messages. So, like I said, when there's a lot of transformation, Scorpio and Taurus both, they rule over transformation. So consistent realizations about yourself. We go over the planet of Pluto and learning about the unknown, the psychological, the mental, all of that. And so at the time, when I was writing songs for Channel Messages, I was going through a lot of like chaotic movement. But this was also a time that once I, you know, got into a better space to just live in and more calm and being able to be within my own energy and be in a place that I felt, you know, safe and comfortable in, I genuinely started having these channeled messages. Like, I would find a beat, look for a beat, and then I would just kind of let spirit speak through me, and they would start to kind of like uncover certain things about myself and certain aspects about situations that I was going through that I was not taking the time to realize when I was like hyper focusing into what the world was doing or what was going on like in the 3D. And it was like every time something significant happened, all of a sudden I would find this amazing instrumental and I would just get to like flowing, and I knew it wasn't just me. Like, it was somebody really like working through me to get the stuff out. Like, I know even when we were talking, or when I had first made Escapism, which I think is like the 6th one on there, it was genuinely talking about, you know, if you attract what you reflect when it comes to people, okay? And people, they're like, oh, I always get stuck with pieces of shit. Well, you need to analyze something. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, all I can do is be honest, because I also had to experience these things. So like, I realized, you know, one of the habits that I had when I was attracting people was people who were very like in the wind, like we're not paying attention to things. But I also realized that was, or people that heavily like to drink, or people that heavily like to smoke, like they always had to have something to get them out of reality. And I realized that it was mirroring an aspect of escapism that was within myself, that I had to analyze. I had to go through a period where I was not smoking as frequently, where I had to go through a period where I was not going around a lot of people or fucking or whatever the case was, because I really had to understand what sort of things I was using to hide my emotions or to detach from actually being able to feel and experience those emotions. So I really in the process of writing that, like, learned so much about myself, like, and just, you know, like, just to build that confidence and to open up chakras that needed to be opened up, or to balance out chakras that were too overactive, not to be too much about myself, but also not, you know, shit on myself when I know I'm doing something good. So it was definitely a very spiritual experience. But all of the stuff that I've been writing, even Karmic Partners, I wrote Karmic Partners because I was with a karmic partner. Like, it wasn't by chance, and Spirit just so happened to give me this amount of songs, and then I'd release it and I'd be like, ooh, that was good. And then I'd go to the next cycle. Like, Karmic Partners came, I stopped, you know, being with the karmic partner, then all of a sudden I got channel messages. Like, it just kept on piggybacking off of each other. And it was so funny because, you know, the year that I really began to tap into my emotions, which is your moon sign, and I have an Aquarius moon, and I was super drawn to the star card. Like, I kept getting the star card popping up for me all the time. It was like this star card energy. And I realized that it wasn't just about public validation. It was about genuinely being able to say, you know, because Aquarius is a little flighty. Like, we don't really know how to deal with emotions too well sometimes, because it's easier for us to detach, because Aquarius rules over consistent change. It's ruled by the planet of Uranus. So development is what they like. And the undeveloped Aquarian mind is like, oh, well, how can I develop if I'm focusing on stuff in the past? Well, if you don't acknowledge the stuff that's happening, then there's not going to be any growth there. You know what I'm saying? So I realized that the star card was not just for public recognition or for, you know, becoming famous. It was genuinely to understand the energy of pouring into myself and having the attention come later, having the recognition come later, the validation come later, because it came from me first.
Ooh, yes.
So it was real fun to write, though. That should be lit. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So, like, you kind of talked about it a little bit. So what is just like your writing process? Because, you know, you get, you know, your messages and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, are you in a dark room? Do you have to go somewhere to, like, get inspired? Are you in the studio? Like, how do you put it all together? So,
genuinely, okay, and this is the funniest thing. Like, I hate being in the room with people when I'm, like, fucking writing shit, because I'm one of the people where I'll find the beat and then I want to listen to that shit like 3 times over, and then I'll write something and then I'll replay it again. I feel like I can't do that with other people in the room. It's like, it's too much. And so I am normally secluded. I kind of go into my space and I have my little blunt, but I noticed that in the beginning of writing, I write a lot better sober as hell. Like, I like to write when I'm like here in the present moment, and then I like to perform like lit as fuck. Like, that's the combo, the power combo there. Ooh. But I like to write the songs, I go over them, and then when I finish writing the whole shit from the beginning to the end, I go at that thing nonstop. Like, I'm constantly singing it, constantly trying to remember. So that way, by the time I get into the studio, I'm ready to go. We don't got to work on nothing. I don't got to try to figure out no words. I get in the studio, I do my studio time, and I get right on the fuck out. But again, that comes from also just like valuing things of like privacy. I feel like sometimes when you go into like studios, people like to comment, and I never got any bad comments in the studio. Right. It's just like, I'll get distracted and I'll start trying to like apply shit that you said because this is something that you like. Right. If that wasn't the original plan, then that's not what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Unless I asked you for a collaboration experience. But when I do collaborate with people, it's lit. Like, I've collaborated with some fun people, and I rarely collaborate, but when I do, like, the vibes be real good.
That's good. That's really good. And speaking of studios, where do you typically record?
So I've bounced between a couple of studios, but I noticed that I really like to record at home. Yeah. Like, I had to build, sorry, because I had lost my train of thought. But I really like to record at home. I started putting in the effort putting in the money and the investing into building my own like studio at home. Because I respect everybody's craft. I know what producers do. Yeah. I know, you know, the engineers and stuff, they be going hard. And the engineer that like I did have when I was at Prime, he went hard as fuck. But I realized that I would rather I would rather do it myself because I can't go to the studio just anytime when the vibe is already there. If the vibe is there, I need to record it while the vibe is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes by the time you get to the studio, it'll be a little too late. You're not in the same energy. Sometimes I'll be writing about some angry ass shit. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm like, fuck. I don't even want to do this. Like, but, so I have started recording at home. And it's been real lit. Like, even getting to learn like how to do all the shit myself, or like going to other engineers and being like, hey, would you teach me how to like do this? And they've all been like super chill about it. Even engineers that have their own studios at home, they're like, here, this is what you need. If you can't get this, and work from there. So,
That's what's up. Okay. And last but not least, what would you say is your favorite part about the 757?
Favorite part about the 757? Let me think. You know, one thing that I will say, because I've never been like a stay in one state type of person. Like even me just coming here, like to choose to go to Virginia was literally on a whim. Like I was coming here for college, and I was picking between a couple of different colleges, and I said, fuck it. We'll do whichever one has the best pre-college group chat. Went into all the group chats. I said, okay, they're pretty lit. So I chose Virginia. I ain't never been to Virginia, had no family in Virginia, none of that. Just came on over, paid for the tuition before I visited the school. I ain't give a fuck. And so one thing that I will say is, from living in different states, every state and the people that like heavily reside in that state, they all got their little like thing. Virginia niggas, they fly, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got their own way of being fly, just like how niggas in Atlanta got it. Niggas from where I'm from, California niggas got their own sort of drip. But Virginia niggas and the 7.5 will rep the fuck out of their 7.5 drip. And you know what? I applaud them for that, because hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? Rep your shit. And I will also say that they have some really good vegan spots here. When I did start going vegan, I was a little scared because I was like, damn, I don't know where I'm gonna be able to eat. And one thing about being a vegan that's different from just eating, you know, whatever, is that convenience is usually out of the window. Not a lot of places like make vegan food. But when I do be going to the little vegan spots and shit, they be hitting. Have you
heard of Conscious Planet?
I've heard of it.
They have vegan food.
Ooh.
And it's like not far from here.
Now,
on the way home.
I love.
Well, is there anything else that maybe I didn't touch on, or that you want to like share with people?
I will say that I have a new project coming out. I'm very, 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 very excited for it. It's called the NBBW, and just be looking out for it. It's gonna go hard. Like, as opposed, like, I talk about, by the time I release music, I'm never in that like mindset anymore. Like, by the time I release Channel Messages, I was already working on this next project. When I released Karma Partners, I was already working on Channel Messages. So I feel like this new music is really about to resonate with who I am currently now. And yeah, y'all gonna fuck with it for sure. So
you said NBBW?
Yes, the non-binary black woman.
Okay. Okay, that was a lot less X-rated than I thought it was gonna be.
Look, and I said, damn, I gotta put both the B's, because I can't be like in BW. But if I say in BBW, they're gonna be like BBW. But genuinely, the way that it's designed, the way that it looks, it goes hard. So you're really gonna like it for sure.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for being our gem this week.
Of course.
Stay tuned for a performance by CamrynIsBlack.
Woo woo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Listen to the universe and focus on getting it right. Skin rich with the nature's love and hand it touching the sky. Why the sea is shining, the base to the floor we can do. Governments say they love you, inject you with chemical X. Tell you the new way you get your info for physical stress. All uneducated, hella stupid, the brainwash the best. That don't go up every day and all we do pop in their chest. Leave it up to me to tell the people what's been going on. Education, let the beat go hard so we remember this. The bottom fucking renaissance. Governments talking like an ex, they love the megalodon. Sexy and I smoke a lot. Manifest inside my song. Give it to the people, then they like slaves to the money, love music, but unfortunately cash rule everything around me. Cash rule everything around me. Fuck public education, know that white man ain't gon' teach me nothing. Been through how many pandemics, they ain't never give us nothing. Spiritual warfare throwing off all our energy. That's why black folks will lock again, get some red dollars synergy. Got the sinner, can't identify enemy. Separate ego from intuition, that's really enemy. That's awakening of self-proof. We are all powerful beings, y'all niggas can't get past colorism. If you're not gay, why seeing gay people affect you? Can I see the hate you have allowed it to infect you? Act as if there's not respect in how they address you. Think cause you're in nobody, I should immediately respect you. You got 40 years of trauma, you'll ask me to get through. And 400 years on top of that for all y'all people. This is the fucking sequel. Are you really not processing how this was the fucking prequel? It's the modern fucking renaissance. Government smoke me like an ex, they love the megalodon. Sexy and I smoke a lot. Manifest inside my song. Give it to the people, then they stream it like a telegon. Only spreading peace and love and peace, the fuck you they be on. Tell the truth and reap the benefits, easy as fucking fuck. Me grow up non-binary, so bitch you cannot sit with us. Tell the truth, but I don't look it, cause the bitch done leveled up. A rental in the city, push past the pain and fear, temptation, pressure, only of the flesh and ego. Living like slaves to the money, the music, but unfortunately cash rule everything around me. Push past the pain and fear, temptation, pressure, only of the flesh and ego. Living like slaves to the money, love music, but unfortunately cash rule everything around me.